So my name is Paritosh Sharan. Basically a life and a leadership coach, and I've been working in this space for almost for more than a decade. But prior to that, I was actually into corporates. Basically, I'm a mechanical engineer, and then I went on to work in Tata Steel for 7 years. It so happened from there I moved to Satyam, where I worked for 7 years. Then Oracle also 7 years. I don't know what's the relationship of 7 years, but I moved in 7 years. And then I went to HCL for 2 years, then 1 year in Tech Mahindra. That's my entire corporate journey. Last three stints, I was the global head of alliances for these corporations. And it's around 2014 that I actually took a clear break from this and started doing what I'm doing today professionally. Even prior to that, I was doing this work, which was not done professionally, but there is a history to it. And there is also a reason which I want to share a little bit about it. Because my journey started with in this line of transformation for a reason. And the reason was pretty strong in a sense. I wanted to work on myself because I was going through a lot of issues in my life. The emotional issues leading to my physical issues, it led to a very difficult patch in my life where I was kind of in depression for more than a decade, almost 17, 18 years of history that I had, of which around 3 years I was on medication. So this is the time around 2007 to 2011. That is the time I worked extensively on myself and went into many field. I started with NLP and energy healing. I also took Diksha in Kriya Yoga. Have three schools of yoga that I explored. Almost I have 3, 4 certification in coaching, including Marcel Goldsmith, GCG, as well as Erickson. I've also done NLP based coaching certification, IFC NLP. So explored quite a bit. One of the area which I have explored extensively out of my interest is the language. And when I started, exploring language, and that is the time I started exploring various dimensions of life. And one of the, in my own world, one of the best or rather most important dimensions of life was relationship. I felt that whether we are working on career or we are working on, we look at any area of your life, let's say career. If something goes wrong today, and if you have your relationships working well, I think you'll be able to go through that journey rather comfortably than going into traumas. Similarly, if there are major health issues, if you think that people are there around me to take care, then you'll be able to handle it pretty well. So if you look at the entire set of domains, you will find relationship is one of the most important domain of life. And when it comes to relationship, there is always relationship between two entity. And that's what I started exploring for various angles. From the energy angles, what are these two entities? Then looking at two person, I extensively have spent time in the human process lab. Sumedha, some of you might be knowing. And that is where I have lots of revelations about myself in terms of how do I look at myself, my identities, my role taking in this world. Then I started looking at all aspect. I really found out that whenever we are talking of relationship, we are talking relationship with two entities. But these two entities, I found they are not noun. Okay. And then when I started looking at who am I in that case, then I found I am not a monolithic, let's say Paritosh. I am somebody who is going through a process myself. And there are many layers to it. Then when I started looking at the dynamics between two entity, then I found out it was never person A versus person B. There could be very small, minuscule layers where things are being exchanged, or even the dissonances are there. But we call it relationship between A and B. And that was one of the most fundamental aspect. So in today's presentation, I was just thinking, will not take too many, but I would like to at least capture three areas, three major areas, which you will be able to probably look at, understand yourself better, and see how it can be. You can look at relationship from a different point of view, and once you are able to see the different perspective, and many a times relationship issues are actually you don't have to even solve. The reason is the problem cease to exist. I've been doing relationship coaching counseling world over, and it's almost more than even when I had started doing it professionally. I've been doing this work, so it has been very fulfilling journey. And I look at now relationships issues or whatever you call it. It's not that somebody is right or somebody is wrong. The only one reason why relationships go bad is lack of awareness about the self or the ignorance. It can happen at one side, it can happen at both sides. But when we are dealing with relationships, particularly, I personally believe there is only one person who would need to be worked on is the self. There is no need of working, because inside of this almost everything start shifting. Even from the energy point of view, you will find if I change my energies, the people who are related to me, their energy starts shifting. So you are at the nucleus of everything where you work. And then I hope I'm clear so far. Anybody has any other thoughts, or can I hear from some of you what is that you were expecting out of this, or anything that you have to comment? It's becoming absolute monologue. I'm not very used to this. Yeah, and nobody is on camera also. It becomes very difficult to talk to camera and also emote. I'm not used to it. And if you all can come, then there will be a lot more lively interactions that can happen. So thank you for those who are coming on. I request everyone to come on, and please share if you have. I would like to keep it interactive because that's the way best it works in such kind of a discussion. Okay. So Avilas, can you give me and we'll interact actually. So may I know which is one area which is of prominence to you, personal or professional? Can you just type on chat what is that is the area that you are looking for, or you are more interested to know about? If you can just go back to your chat and just type one word, personal or professional, which area you are more interested to understand. And my idea would be just not that I give you some information. um, I don't want to just give you the information. I would also like, if you have questions, please stop me in. At least we will take make it more interesting and useful session for as much as possible for people. Okay, great. So I think it is both means we are looking for some fundamental aspect. So let me just look at it from a point of view. How do we define ourselves? Because in my own understanding, our relationship blueprint is formed in our childhood time. In all my dealings in relationship, I have found out the first few years of your observations and experiences as a child, the way you look at it, your parents, your immediate circle, your environment, whatever you were subjected to, even without even understanding, that's what creates your relationship blueprint. And this relationship blueprint actually keep unfolding all your relationships. And I have the confidence, at least I would say through my own experience, that I can vouch for it 100% time. In most of the hypotheses where very complex relationship issues came to me, both in personal or professional, I have seen somewhere reflection coming from the blueprint, and then it is spreading in all of you. Maybe you can take your pen and paper. Let's do one small exercise. All of you, take a A4 sheet or diary and do something like this. Let me um, Abhilas, can you give me a sharing option so that I can share?
Yeah, you're a co-host already, na? I've already.
Acha, acha. Okay, okay, right. Okay, just give me a second. I was just looking how do I share my iPad. Abhilas, can you help me with that?
Share option might be there, sir, for you.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing this option of sharing. There is one option for sharing the.
Or you can share with us, na?
No, I want to write it actually on iPad. So
So you're
anyway,
right on the whiteboard, you must say.
right, right,
Uh,
right. That's what I wanted to use on iPad.
okay.
So normally there is an option for us to share the iPad, but I'm not seeing this option here right now. I don't know what's wrong with it. Just give me a second. Or let me just draw it here, and I would like all of you to see it, and I will show you. So it so happened that we were conducting this discussion for some children in a setup, and all these children were like less than 9-10 years, and they were all given big this A4 this A1 sheet, and they were given a lot of colors, and they were asked to draw a community drawing. What was that community drawing? The community drawing was that you draw yourself like this is me, and then you draw your family. So what happened was there is one child who draw something like this, and I'm showing you. I'm sorry, I normally I do it in a live on iPad. Are you able to see this one? So somebody draw like this, okay? But there's another child. When he draw it like me, and then he wrote mummy, he wrote papa, and from the mummy he wrote nana, nani, from papa he wrote dada, dadi, and he kept on expanding with his friends. He also wrote his doggy, and then he wrote something very interesting. He wrote sabji wali auntie, rickshaw wala uncle, right? And like that he kept on expanding, and they had been given a time like 30 minutes. So this child was had even lot more, that diagram that was left to be filled in. So we have to stop. His time is over. Ab ruk jao. Time is over. And the other child, we kept telling ki और कोई है क्या, कोई और है क्या. Think about who else could be there in relationship. They couldn't think about anybody else than mummy and papa. Now just imagine these two children growing together in this very society. And when they grow, what kind of relationship you think they will make and how they will relate with others, right? And this is what is happening everywhere. Even today, the families, there are families in which there are one or two children, there are families which has got five children. At least I was born with five siblings. We were five siblings. It was a rather tough beginning for us. We had the toys, the mitti ke khilone, and even till today those mitti ke khilone we have kept it. It didn't broke, and all of us shared the toys. Where did this come from? Was I very good person, very good child? No, child is neither good nor bad. I gave this example only to make you aware that during the childhood time, there are some basic definitions are getting formed. They work like a filter, and that's how the child starts seeing the world. I did an exercise with one of the very senior executive. He was supposed to write his bio and all the significant emotional experiences that he had in life. And he wrote, after writing, one day he was supposed to call and share with me. And you know what he said? The very first sentence, he said that I am seventh from my mother's side and 11th from my father's side. I said, what does it mean? What do you think could be the reason? Anybody would like to just type in some words and just see? What do you see? What could be the reason why he wrote it? Or the basic premise? What you can make out? Anybody would like to comment? If somebody says like that, what does this indicate? No one writing? Anyway, this was a statement. Okay, ignore or unseen. Father got married twice. Wonderful. Okay, no clue. Okay, right. He said that I am from seventh from mother side, 11th from. So he has a way of looking at his मम्मी, मौसी, जितनी मौसी हैं, जितने मामा हैं, पूरी फैमिली में सारे बच्चों को लेकर के कौन सबसे बड़ा था, कौन कजन्स में, ही वाज नंबर 7. And his father's side, he was number 11. It gave clear indication that the person thinks through joint family. He lives maybe in joint family. Now, when I ask this question, what is your experience when you have gone? What is your experience with colleagues and bosses? You know, the first statement, what he said, people are very selfish. I said, what do you mean by? I mean, they only think about themselves. And this is major cause for his, issues, that he is not able to relate with most of the people. So today, in the same corporate, same organization, it may happen a person is coming from the joint family and one person is coming from the nuclear family where he was the only child, and we assume that we can teach emotional intelligence to both and they can work together. That is so difficult because they live in a completely different model of the world. It's not possible. But then I ask him, is it good or bad? He said, definitely bad. I said, how do you decide? Now, how they can only think about themselves? I said, this is your point of view. What about the child who never seen this? A child who never experienced relationship? Who never experienced even cousins or brothers and sisters? How do you say that that child is right or child is wrong? Actually, both children are right. Nobody is wrong. We took people as what? We took people and look at it as if We all have the same ingredients. But people are not good and bad, people are different. So, what goes on in building a personality, the personal reality, actually defines how my relationship would be. And that's why I said our blueprint at the childhood time is actually creating. We're going to look at that little more in detail. But before I go there, I wanted to also bring about why I'm talking about this blueprint. So I'll give another example of it in relationship. I do. I'm in a panel of coaches for an NGO which helps women worldwide. Any distress cases comes where people don't have money. I was shocked to see. I got call from Manila. I got call from California. I got call from Pune. I got call from London and one African country. I mean, everywhere I found that there is something which is going on. These were the calls from the um, people going through similar kind of experiences. So I realized that ऐसा नहीं है कि we only experience in what is happening in India. When it comes to relationship dynamics, everywhere is the same thing. Reasons could be different, but the ultimate experience is the same. So what happened? This particular lady in California, coming from a Muslim family, and what happened? She was beaten very badly by the husband, and with a 3-year-old child, she ran away to one of her friend's place. And then somehow her friend helped her to connect with this organization, and I got a call. So just to cut the story short, the first call when it happened, I asked her what happened. She narrated, and she was actually terribly afraid that she might get killed or her child also may get killed. You said, I seen such a bad anger and this is happening again and again. But earlier when I was there alone, that's okay. But now I have a 3-year-old daughter and I feel that she may get hurt. And that's how she ran. So when I was working with her, I actually didn't work on anything after that, talking about her husband. I asked only one question. In the entire process, I am using a methodology in which I suggest not to look at other person. I ask, how do you attract such relationships? How do you attract such incidences? Can we look back? Again, to cut the story short, what we found out that the childhood time, the girl child was actually not sexually abused, but she was beaten enough number of times by father, also by the elder brother. And that kind of trauma that child has grown up with. And then when she realized, I said, don't you think you are manifesting the similar kind of stuff again and again? Only the person is changing. You are actually repeating the same experience at the blueprint which was formed long time back. This has happened in most of the cases. If I give 100%, even then I feel I'm right. This is how it has been the case. I've also seen cases where there is no trace of it, but one or two or three incidences actually has pointed down. It's like you're extrapolating something data and finding something behind. You will find there is a pattern running and this blueprint is getting formed at the childhood time. So it has been, if you understand the biology method, it's a very deep work. Some of you might be knowing that 0 to 7 is the period of which is called imprinting period. 0 to 7 is the time in which all the values, belief systems, the core ones get formed. 7 to 14 is the time when it's a modeling period. Modeling period means what? It's a time when a child start following some models, some fan following, maybe their father, maybe the mother, maybe somebody else in the family, maybe elder brother, elder sister. But if the child doesn't have 0 to 7 time good relationship with parents, and or there is an absence of parents, then what will happen? They can pick up Doraemon, and Doraemon can become their modeling. Their secondary personality characteristic starts getting formed based on that, and now that will drive the relationship blueprint. Then from 14 to 21, it's called socializing period. In this 14 to 21 years, they explore their peers. They don't listen. Parenting doesn't work after 14. Parenting has to be stopped in 13 to 14. If you want access to the children and look at it, then you have to be a friend of that child. So now if you look at, the values are getting formed between 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21. In 21, somebody said that from 21 to 35, it's a period where actually it's called professional period they explore. What we have found in biological method is, even if people go astray at 21 and 28 and those years, they trace back themselves in later ages to the values they created or got imprinted in 0 to 7 period. They come back. Many of the ladies who are here, if you can relate, initially when they start, racketing with their own mother, when they're into teens and then little ahead, but after 35, 40, I've seen when they're becoming mother, and same way when the men, when they become father, it's only then they start understanding their own father better, and same way their own mother better. Why? Because they are also tracing back their value system. So now look at it. How does the blueprint and the personal reality gets formed? So I would call it there are three bases. The basis for that is how a person's self concept is, and it's divided in three parts. Number one, if you can note down, self image. Now, what is self image? I mean, the self image is something when I'm sharing with all of you, I'm someone, I'm XYZ. At this moment of time in this particular group, I'm sharing something about me, but not sharing many other aspects of me. Maybe I'm in a separate group and I'm sharing something else about me, but not something which I shared here. So self image is a reality in a time. So that is one. What is my self image for myself as on date and time and here is what will decide my what self esteem. But it depends on, let me tell you three words: self image, self ideal, and self esteem. I also have an ideal. फादर ऐसे होते हैं, मदर ऐसी होती है, right? Then I followed some character in my life and I want to be like that. So there is an aspirational personality that I have, and there is something which I am. If my self image is not at par, or I'm not holding my self image positively compared to the self ideal, then my self esteem goes down. I'm able to do that, then my self esteem is up, right? Inside of this dynamics, we will all have some significant emotional events, and they start shaping our initial reality. So let me give you another construct. Let me see if I can show you. Now I can actually share this slide. All of you are able to see this? All of you are able to see this one slide? That's the problem. And um,
Yes, yes, sir, we are able to see.
right. Thank you for. I was just waiting for the response. Actually, okay. Thank you. See, let's look at this. This, if you can understand this model, you will be able to start dealing with many relationships. So I'm going to spend some time, and I believe some of you are coaches here, so you might be knowing about this model. But how I use it, I'll tell you. This is a Robert Dilt model which I went through when my NLP days. But then I didn't leave it there. I actually changed it for myself a little. If you somebody remembers this, this is called logical level of change, or neurological level of changes we call it. So there are multiple layers to something. So let's look at this story. I was born in an environment, my parents, my house, my family, my society. This is the environment. A child is born, they are actually forming some behaviors by mimicking. So they start picking their behaviors. And some of the behaviors, not all the behaviors, some of the behavior we call it, oh, my son can now walk. Now my son can eat. My son can run. Now, some of these behaviors start becoming capabilities. If you notice very carefully, some of these capabilities initially give rise to notion of belief system. I can do this, I can't do this. And if you can watch a lot of generalization that we go through in our life, in NLP term we call it generalization, and that is our requirement, that we form certain belief system which we can utilize without having a cognitive overload. So those belief systems are there, and they also learn values. Values are what? Values are something which is important for you. Now these values are actually imbibed from the family. And if you look at the connection between belief systems and values, you will understand in just few a little more time what I want to say here. But if you look at now, the belief systems are actually encapsulated in values. If your value changes, somehow you will find your belief system starts changing. So for the time being, just understand that belief system and then values, and then there are identities. How does the identities get formed? You might be a mom, you might be a sister, you might be a daughter, you might be a manager. How many roles do you play in life? So many roles, that not one. And I'm putting your identity as a role identity. And do you know that for each of the role identity, something is important for you, and those are your values, right? So this is the hierarchy. Leave the top part, purpose. Many people in the young, when you ask what is your life purpose, अभी छोड़ो यार, अभी पर्पस का क्या करना, अभी जीते हैं, बाद में देखेंगे पर्पस क्या होता है. But as you go on, and suddenly you will start realizing everybody is asking. You went to one spiritual guru, and उन्होंने पूछा बेटा तुम्हारी जिंदगी का पर्पस क्या है. I mean, nobody had actually explored at that moment of time, but they started asking this कि जीवन का अर्थ क्या है, पर्पस क्या है. And this is something now corporates are taking on, because उनके mission statement में, उनके DNA में vision, mission and values are written. If it is so philosophical, I can understand humans can take, but why the corporates are taking? There has to be something very important. But look at this now as a construct, that a human being is not monolithic. As I said, we are not monolithic. We are like Paritosh. If you somebody asks you, do you know Paritosh? What do you know about Paritosh? Then think about, if you know Paritosh's environment, if you know Paritosh's behavior, if you know Paritosh's capabilities, if you know belief systems, if you know his values, if you know what kind of roles he's playing, or if you know, oh, Paritosh stands for this in life, let's say purpose, can you safely say I know Paritosh better. All of you, can you write in chat? Do you think your understanding will be okay, at least to some extent? So what is happening here is that I am not monolithic. Paritosh has these issues. These layers. These layers have hierarchy. Hierarchy. Einstein said it, something like this. Einstein quote is, a problem cannot be solved at a level of consciousness it is created. Okay? Repeating. A problem cannot be solved at the level of consciousness it is created. I think I was not attending, but I think there was somebody who did a parenting workshop just before this workshop. So let me say, if the child was bullied in the school, and please notice this is again related with relationship. If the child was bullied in the school, what do you think? I want response from some of you. Where do you think is the problem? At which layer? Environment, behavior, capability, belief, values, identity, purpose. Can somebody tell me which layer there is a problem? Please unmute and please share.
It's an environment.
Okay, it's an environment, right? So if I ask you further, what you will do if there is a problem in the environment?
Come again, sir. If the family is involved.
Right. If the environment has got problem, bully is happening in the environment. So what is that we should do? What normally people do? Anybody else can also respond. What is the normal response?
The child refuses to go to the school,
Right.
or he becomes aggressive.
That's the symptom. I'm saying what solution you give.
What solution?
Yeah. What is the solution people are adopting? Normally, how people are solving it? That's my question is.
So people would actually go to probably school or speak to the teachers or principal and complain that, my child is bullied.
Right.
They confront the issue.
Right. So normally that happens. People try to control the environment and all. Some people actually have seen that they have taken children from one school to the another school.
We can
Right. And so if anybody has this
we can
experience,
change the behavior of the child.
okay. Who said it? Your voice was breaking, actually. Right. So now let me go back. There are parents, what they did, they took the person from the child from one school, they put them in the other school. If you adopt that, do you think bully will stop? Yes or no? If you change the environment of the child, do you think bully will stop?
No.
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 Right. Now what's going to happen is this behavior of the child of getting bullied will be permanent. Now that child will be bullied lifelong. If he gets married, get bullied by the spouse. If he goes and join an company, the boss will bully him. Bully will become constant for his life. Right. So what was the other statement which I said? Look at this. People are in this. There is a hierarchy. Means follow this hierarchy. If the problem is at the environment level, solution will come above it, not below it. If you teach a new behavior to the child will be able to deal with it. Many times people are not understanding or not learning new behavior, right? Add new capability, they will start behaving. Many people are not able to get into or add on capabilities. It's something to do with their belief system. If you don't change the belief system, it will not going to work. Now, my idea in this workshop is not to explain you this. Just take one message here, that we have different layers, because we are going to make use of these layers for understanding the relationships. Right? Everybody is in with me so far? Any questions on this? Okay. So let's say you got to know Paritosh, and there is one conversation. Somebody says, I hate Paritosh. Somebody said, I hate Paritosh, or I don't like Paritosh. You know, in NLP, we talk about Virginia Satir. She was a great family therapist. She'll get and stay with the family and solve all problems. How she used to solve all the problems, actually, she had a knack of asking questions. So let's say some of you will say, okay, I hate Paritosh. So Paritosh will ask you, or Virginia will Satir will ask you, what exactly you hate in Paritosh? And now you have to answer. If somebody says, अच्छा परितोष का नाक बहुत लंबा है. अच्छा ठीक है मेरा नाक लंबा है. You don't like my nose. Do you like my ear? Do you like my eyes? Now suddenly you see that, यार बाकी सब तो ठीक था, only nose was big and because of which I didn't like him. Now suddenly you realize that it was not an issue with the whole person. It was an issue with just one layer, and within that also very small part. So let's understand this. What does it mean is, if you have problem with some person or relationship happening or not happening, it's not given by two people, it's given by some characteristics. Let's look at this A and B. There are two people now, right? If you see there are two people, and we talked about something called values. We are going to go into values little later. Tell me, if A and B, you came to know that there is a relationship issue. At times people can jump into do's and don'ts and this and that. How do you identify? What do you think in your experience? Some of you might be coaching also. Where you think is the biggest problem happening? Which layer?
In belief system, from beliefs.
Belief systems, Lavanya.
Yes.
Who else? Anybody else?
Yeah, it's mainly belief system.
Many belief systems, okay. Anyone else would like to give a try? See, I'm not saying these answers are wrong. No, the answers are right. So Lavanya, if the problem is at the belief system,
Okay.
where it can get solved?
Maybe at the age of 0 to 7, they have some imprint. So based on that, if they see some negative, same with the person B, they
Correct.
get there will be relationship issues. So that based on their beliefs, so we can change by.
I'm saying here, look at the diagram. A and B में relationship की issue है, right? And you said that problem is happening at the belief system. You know what? Something very nicely. What you said, problem person में नहीं है, उसके belief system में है. Now you have depersonalized the relationship issue. The moment you say, I have problem with you, now it's very difficult to delete. But what if, Lavanya, if I tell you, the Lavanya, I actually like you, but I have problem with one of your value system, or I have problem with your belief system. Now, how does it land? Because actually the issue is that only. But we took people as monolithic. So as you said that problem is in the belief system, let me give you my stat. My stat. The problem is 95% of the problem is actually in the value system. And because there are different value system people are born with, and they come to live together, it will reflect in different layers. So there is a hierarchy. If you look at the first diagram which I had shown all of you, this is called life by default. Going up from environment, as you are growing up in life, you go from environment to identity. And some people are wise enough to start searching mera purpose kya hai life ka. So they explore even the purpose. But when you are actually evolving, you are not going from bottom up. We call it, one of my program called Reinvent Your Life. In which what we do, we start looking at your life purpose, and then we start looking, okay, if this is my life purpose, then who I need to be. Then I get to know my identity. Once I know my identity, if I'm a doctor, then I know what is important for you. Now I know what values is important for me. Then I will be able to grasp the rest of it. Means belief system, capability, here I learn. But if first top 2 or 3 things are clear to me, everything is clear. Now when you come to relationship, I'm opening another dimension for it. Many a times relationships are happening, you know why? Two persons' behavior was similar. और द इन्वायरमेंट, दोनों एक साथ पब में जाते थे या दोनों एक साथ स्कूल में पढ़े. Something happened at the environment level, they match, they get married. घर आए तो पता चला रिलेशनशिप में वैल्यूज में प्रॉब्लम है. हो गया फिनिश. Now you cannot live together. Remember, I don't want to preach here what is good and what is bad. People are there of all ages. At least पहले क्या था, people, हम लोग गुण मिलाते थे ना मैरिज का. People were not seen each other also, but they lived for 50 years a lifetime. Why? They are connected at the purpose level. The marriage had a purpose. No matter how trivial it could be, but they had a purpose. But today, it's more environment based and behavior based. So I'm not again judging at the cost of some this thing I'm sharing. I'm not judging. I want all of you to look at it, human, not as a monolithic. Look at a human as a process, and relationship also as a process. Now look at this. If there is a problem, then where does it come from? I come from my family. My family was completely different. I learned some values. For some reason, something is more important for me, right? And when it became important for me, this is my design. Now you were raised somewhere else in other family. Your value systems were completely different than mine, because we just discussed how we got formed from bottom up. Now you got formed the way you got formed. I got formed because I got formed. Now, if we come in relationships, what's going to happen? Both values are different. Now, I am wrong or you are wrong, or am I right or you are right? Fact is, nobody in this world is right and nobody in this world is wrong. We are different people because these layers are different. And when we are looking at relationships, we also need to understand what could be the issue in relationship. Even it can indicate what relationship is good. And I have a definition for that, which I say to the people. The relationships is a third entity. You don't live in for A and B. You live for a relationship. There is the entity C, which is relationship. I am different, you are different. What we are working for is relationship. So we are all focused on relationship, not on each other. And you will find amazingly how it works, because in that case, I became aware about my values. Most people in this world are not aware what are their values. Let me give an example. If I say 2 words, Satya or Ahimsa, okay, I have different views. Guys, please don't wrong me. Satya and Ahimsa का नाम लेने से किसका नाम याद आता है? Whose name comes to your mind?
Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi.
Gandhi.
महात्मा गांधी. ठीक है? क्यों भाई? Because we thought it is his core values. अच्छा, सत्य एंड अहिंसा में से सत्य निकाल लेंगे तो ही इज नो मोर गांधी. इफ आई टेक अहिंसा, ही इज नो मोर गांधी. वी हैव हर्ड सो मच अबाउट महात्मा गांधी. उसके लिए सत्य एंड अहिंसा के लिए उन्होंने क्या क्या नहीं किया. आई एम आस्किंग, व्हाट आर योर वैल्यूज? डू यू नो? अच्छा, even we know or you don't know, you have values. They are a very top 5 6 values which is governing your life, and you are not even aware. And in relationship, somebody is actually violating it, and the other person who is violating, even that person doesn't know your values. Forget about your, the person don't know his or her values. अंधे में रह रहे हैं, अंधकार में है. So I will give one case to explain this. I got a case from, this is a one session resolution. This case got resolved in one session. What was the discussion? I came, some friend of this guy had suggested he connect with me because this husband wife were actually getting separated. Almost it was final. And then the case came and he discussed. The guy only came and he said, Ki Paritosh, I called you because my friend wanted, but I have already taken decision, so there is nothing for us to work on. Amal, it's okay to at least respect your friend. At least he has been telling you something, so you can discuss with me. I don't know whether it will be, I have no intention of changing your mind or anything. If there is some ignorance part of it, maybe we can look at it. That's it. I said, what's the issue? He said, you know what? I don't have any major issue with my wife, but I can't tolerate her a single moment. I said, why? He said, I'll give you an example. The moment I ask what breakfast you are making, she will say idli, but what will come is dosa. In the lunch, she will say something else, and something else will come. I'll say, where are you going? She's saying, I'm going to market. Pata chala kahin aur gayi thi. I say, why do you went to market to buy X? But as she came up with Y. So she said that it is happening every second. And I feel that I'm talking to the ghost, not to real person. And how can I? Because I cannot tolerate lie. I cannot tolerate lie. I said, okay. So now I understood. I said, can we do your value elicitation? What is so important for you? It's a 3-4 step. Most people, I've seen even coaches, they are not aware of their values. It need to be really thought through. A lot of iterations has to be done. Then they only become aware about their values. Finally, I came to know these top 5 values. One is integrity, honesty. Very, very important for them.
So one is integrity. What is the other, sir?
Honesty.
Honesty.
Right. And he said that I don't mind Paritosh. इसको जो करना है करे, but at least she must say that I'm doing this. I've never questioned her, but she doesn't do this. So I said, I got it. So now your values I know. Do you know your wife's value? Then he said, no, I don't know. I said, one value I can see. I said, her value is lying. I said, what the hell you are talking? How can lying can become a value? I said, man, values are values. Lying can become a value. The integrity is a value, so why can't lying also become value? He said, no, how can lying become a value? I said, that's your judgment about values. That's not the value. That's a judgment about values. So let's say I took his name. I said, okay, you are in my house. And now here comes somebody with a gun who want to kill you. And he's searching for you. And he knocked my door. I opened the door. I said, my value is honesty and integrity. Yes, whatever searching for is sitting here only. And you get killed. But this time what I will say, अरे वो तो आया ही नहीं, मैंने तो देखा नहीं, एक वीक से मैं मिला नहीं उनसे. Now what will happen? I lied and saved you. Am I wrong? And am I right? No, here the context is important. I said, you got it. None of these things are right and wrong in life. Everything depends on context. So your wife is lying. Have you checked context? Why and from where she started lying? And now comes the discovery part of it. We recognized, to just cut the story short again, she was among three siblings, she was the only daughter, family from Haryana, patriarchal, highly patriarchal family. All three will play in the house together. No discretion, no, difference. But when it comes to going out, two will go, one will not. And for a small thing, there was so much of control. This small child doesn't know what is right and what is wrong. But the child started saying small lies for small pleasures. That's how child learn lying. When they are punished for being honest, they came and said that I broke that cup, mama, and you slapped. Next time, no, he has never broken anything. Right? And that's what you taught the child to lie. And child doesn't know it's lying is good or bad. It just bought some, pleasure by saying a lie. And that becomes the subconscious behavior. Right? And when I asked her to him to look at her wife's life, he said, Paritosh, I never looked at it from that angle. I said, how do you now relate with her? Because you said there's nothing majorly wrong with her. He said, no, I think I need to look into it. I said, please go and have a look at it. But what is that you can do now? He said, I probably have to work with her and do the same thing what you did with me. I said, what? Value elicitation. I said, okay, go ahead and do that. And find out what are her values. Then tell her, share each other's value. It may match, it may not match. Mind it. If relationship is important, then both will agree, okay, you don't do this, I will not do this, because it's important for you. But never with an I that you are wrong or I am wrong. The problem in understanding these issues, I found out in relationship, getting to know yourself is the best solution for relationship. And now when I'm talking of relationship, I gave you case so that you understand why it is so important to know your hierarchy, know your triangle, know your values. And remember, there are something called core values. When there is an issue in core, what is core value? You have work area, you have personal relationship, you have professional relationship, you have career, you have many other domains of life. If I ask you what is important for you in life, then what will happen? You will tell me, okay, this is. All of you here, many of you are, all of us are in personal relationship. And can I ask all of you can just unmute yourself, and what are things important for a relationship? Tell me, what values are important? What is important in, let's say, personal relationship? I want to hear a list.
Honesty, sir.
Honesty, okay. What else?
Trust, sir.
Trust. Right. What else?
Friendship.
Friendship. What else?
Respect.
What else?
Understanding.
What is that?
Understanding and
Understanding. Okay. What else?
Providing space.
Okay, space. Very brilliant. I love this space in relationship. Without it, all relationship collapse. Acceptance. What else? What else?
Complete listening.
Listening. What else?
Empathy.
What else?
Patience.
What else?
I think we need love.
Love. Okay. Finally, somebody asked for it.
Caring.
Caring.
Yes.
What else?
Nurturing also. Growing
Nurturing.
together.
Right.
Together.
Right. And when
Support.
it comes to, yes. And even, for example, in marital relationship, even the sex, intimacy, emotional understanding, emotional compatibility, there are many things which is important, right? But all of you said, if I take a laundry list and go and search a partner for me, Will I get it?
No.
Everything seems to be important, but some of it will be important for you. So if you can, how do we find out values? We make a list like this, okay, and then we ask person, find which is top 10, and now the struggle starts. How to find out? I'll give you a very interesting story here, actual story. For the time being, just look at this. Like that you done for your personal relationship, we have a list of, let's say, 20, 30. Now we'll do it for professional relationship. You'll again draw some 20, 30, right? If I look at career, what is important, then you'll again start writing what is career mein kya important hai, paisa, position, power, like that. If I take your 3, 4 domain and look at all the values and start looking for which value is common across, they become your core values. Usually core values are in the top. In relationship, what happens is no two people are the same. Very difficult. Even if they have, there is a hierarchy. You know what is hierarchy is? For some, honesty is more important than compassion, and for some, compassion is more important than and their language will change. Somebody said, Paritosh, you are wearing a nice shirt, but you know what? Had you wore this one, it would have been even better. And then the other said, Paritosh, I think you are wearing a lovely shirt, man. What a beautiful color you have. He doesn't have a shirt of the same color. He likes on me. So here what can happen is, for one person, honesty was more important than compassion, his language changed. For this person, compassion is more important than honesty, so his language changed. All of you, when you speak one line, I can find out some 5 to 10 values. You are radiating values. Our language is coming from values, right? So now the question here is, if we find out like this, there is a hierarchy difference, even then you can manage relationship. But if there is issue in the core relationship, it's so difficult to manage. You die every day, because all in life we do, we feel good when our values are being validated. You feel you are in pain when values are being conflicted or violated. No matter what pain you are talking about, suffering, you get only suffering when your values somewhere getting hit. Start looking at this from that angle. Yeah, so coming back onto relationship. So one lady came to me and said that, Paritosh, I want to get married. अगर मेरा इस साल में मैरिज नहीं होगा तो पेरेंट्स कर देंगे. So how do I find the right person in my life, right relationships? I said, okay, let's have a value elicitation. What do you want? So she wrote love, number 1. And then number 2, and then number 3, and we made a list of some 30. Then I said, okay, now let's divide and find out which are the top 10. So we again came back, and love was number 1. Love, respect, care, understanding, all these things were there. Now came of drawing the hierarchy. Means which is number 1, which is number 2, which is number 3, which is number 4. This is the toughest job in consulting. I can tell you, it takes 3-4 hours for us to keep juggling. So I said that, okay, what if the person loves you, but he loves somebody else also? No, how that can happen? So no, people have a lot of capacity. What if the person is loving? Even a dacoit loves his wife, right? And he loves much more. He can kill people for that love. We can't even do many things, but they can kill also. So there are different kind of understanding. So when I started looking at that love, and then looking at the next thing, and I started comparing, I said, no. In that case, integrity is more important. That's a ticket. So integrity is more above love. Now, when we started looking at the dynamics of relationship through values, you know what happened? End of the day, love was not in the list, top 10. They found that care, respect, understanding, all those things were in the top list. Love was out of the window. I said, you know what? when all of these things are there, there is a natural experience which is called love. So there's a lot of misunderstanding in terms of our own values. They hold number one priority why things go wrong in relationship. 95% plus relationship issues, whether it is corporate, whether it is professional, whether it is personal, issues are mismatch of the values. I am also part of, I'm the general manager and country head for the Alpha Group. So helping many of the SMEs and the partners in startups. Most of the partners for emotional connect, as a friend, they came up and started an organization. Later, they finalized the major issue in their values and they parted and the organization sank. If you look at an organization which has some values, and if you uphold your value, you will start attracting people of similar values in life. So whichever values you are living right now, your accumulation of your environment, everything will start happening around your values. Mind it, it's not the value which you want, it's the value actually you live. So if you want to understand your values, you have to understand the company I keep. Okay? Because you will naturally attract people whichever values you live. Right? So if you want relationships, then understanding the values first, knowing your own value is most important, because what is important for you. The second thing is, what if I know my values are XYZ? How does it help me in relationship? Yes, now people are married and now you came to know that your values are something different than your wife. So what you will do? I think then the 90% of the marriages will get cancelled. So no, that's not the approach. What happens is, think about, if you know your value, does it bind you or give you freedom? I want some answers. Does it bind you or it gives you some freedom?
Sir, it gives it's 50-50, sir.
50-50? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. In contextual leadership and professional world, what happens is, leaders who are the top leaders, what they do is, if they think, okay, my value is this, but now they have to act against their own value. Now it's very painful, very, very painful, because if your values are getting violated, you feel hurt, right? But a person, let's say a leader, he is very people oriented person, but for this company he has to fire 10% people. Now what will happen to him? He will cry inside. Many times we are doing this, but what if the person understand that I am doing this for this context? If I am doing this for this context, then he'll be free from the guilt. What happened? Look at the triangle. If he's so clear about the purpose, he will go and transcend the value. That means he wore a value, but he know that for this context, this is where this value is not required, so I can take another. But if you're not aware, you cannot transcend. I'll give you another example. One of my friend, one day she told me, ये क्या यार तू हमेशा blue शर्ट पहनता है, all blues. I completely disagree. It was appeared to me very insulting, invalidating. I said, why are you telling me like this? No, go and check. You always wear blue shirts. I was feeling sad, and then I came back home, opened my wardrobe, and all I saw, all shades of blue. And that day I was actually in depression almost. What the hell? And then what happened after this? Next time when I have to go and buy a shirt, I know my inclination, but you know what? I was aware कि परितोष तो फिर से blue ही खरीदेगा. So this time I told ki, look, you can show this brand and everything, but don't show me blue, okay? Anything other than blue you show, right? And they showed me different colors. I pick up one or two, and with a lot of difficulty, I wore it. Went to office. That day something amazing happened. People started looking at me and said कि आज क्या बात है, थोड़ा different नजर आ रहे हो. Tell me what is the difference. No, कुछ तो difference है. They are not able to understand what is the difference, but they are saying that there is a difference. Okay, this is something which happened, and so, but I got a lot of compliments. Okay, this yellow looks good on you. But when I was actually not wearing blue, that day they noticed me कि कुछ तो है, because so people were so used to me operating from one values, and today I have changed it, so they are not noticing it. But I got a freedom that I can wear also yellow. But how did I got my freedom? By becoming aware about my blue value. Once I know, then I know that acha, now in this context I can wear this context. Today if you come and watch my wardrobe, it has all colors. I got freedom from myself, freedom from my golden cage, just by becoming aware. And trust me, when we are talking about relationships, whether it is personal relationship or professional relationship, it's so difficult to find people with the similar values, right? Actually, you will get tired of the people with the similar. Do you like your own company? You will get bored the maximum. If you get another person exactly like you, that will the most terrible company you will have. So we like differences. Man likes a woman because they are different, not the same. Now, but what is happening is when the infringement happens in any of these layers, then we find a problem, and we need to become aware. So one of the biggest tool for any relationship issue is to understand our own values. I'm just bothered, and sometimes I wonder.
Can I ask a question? It's a little.
Yes, please.
So you just said that when you understand your core values and then you kind of implement a change, but sir, not everyone is very ready to implement a change in their life. Suppose if I understand that I was wearing repeatedly blue, but what if I am too comfortable with blue and I have a personal love for that blue color that you said about the shirt? So
You're
it's
right.
not everybody's thing that they could like to adjust. Then what do you do in that kind of situation?
Right. So I got that. So now, was it Fatima, right?
Yes, Fatima.
Okay, yeah, Fatima. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So when it comes to the values, right? When you said that, I know it, right? When you know it already and you don't want to change, what's the possibility then? You continue. Today itself, I was just writing an article on river. Life has to be like a river. We are not meeting the same person again. We say that somebody said that you cannot enter the same river again. Can you enter the same river again? The moment you enter, the water has flown. But you hold on to that bank of the river. I love it. I'm not going to allow to change. And I can almost guarantee that if somebody doesn't want to change and flow, God also cannot help. That's my statement. Obviously, it is a very 30,000 level statement, but it's difficult because life is all about growth. Now, let me also tell you something more because, and thanks, Fatima, for asking this question. If you look at pillars of relationship, yeah, if you look at the pillars of relationship, there are 4 or 5 pillars of relationship. Okay, let me just stop sharing here. How I'm doing on time, somebody can tell me. Okay. So I have another 12 minutes, Vilas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you have another 15 minutes. Yeah.
Is it 90 minutes or what? I just
90 minutes we can continue.
Okay,
6:15. Yeah.
thank you so much.
So I'd like to tell you something. I think you're doing an amazing thing. I really enjoyed the whole session. It was very interactive and very knowledgeable. Thank you so much. It was just fun. Thank you.
Sure. So now I'm going to share something very important. All of you, let me see if I can draw this. I'm sorry, I could have done a lot had I been able to connect my iPad. Normally, I use my iPad for all the workshop. Look at relationship into 5 pillars. Okay, and this time I'm personally focused on personal relationship. The first relationship, let's say, look at my fingers. The first relationship pillar could be physical relationship. Okay, this is physical relationship pillar. Second relationship pillar is emotional compatibility, whether emotionally we are compatible or not. Okay, the next level is called behavioral compatibility, which is mental or behavioral, you can call it. The fourth layer, I call it intellectual capability, compatibility. And the last one, I call it spiritual. Look at this hierarchy. Okay, physical, emotional, mental, intellectual, and spiritual. Tell me one thing. In your lifetime, when we are very young, maybe we are very driven by the hormones and the physical relationship plays such a strong, we are very strong driver, it could be. But still, there will be some people in the same age group, they are more looking for emotional compatibility. They will get into a physical aspect only when there is a physical, emotional compatibility. They will not get in otherwise. But there are some people who will not even get into emotional until unless intellect or mental things are met. But look at one person. A person in their lifetime, let's say their physical aspect is this. Do you think this physical drive or compatibility will matter to them in all ages? Actually, it start diminishing. Your emotional aspect will actually, you see, start growing. If it is this much, it will start becoming bigger. But so for some people, their mental abilities keep on growing. And some people in later part of the world, how the relationship could be, there are some people said that for them love isn't what, but they said that, if I'm, what, why I love my wife, on the bed whole night we can just keep talking and spend the time. That's the best time I have. You might have met some friends, suddenly you are there with them and whole night you talk, and that is like best for you. Why? Because they were at the intellect level, they were compatible. But my question to all of you is, now I need some answers. Do you think we remain constant on these pillars, or we will grow differently?
We will grow so differently in every level.
Every level will grow, but can you define? Somebody will grow more on intellect, some will grow on more on spiritual, somebody will grow on emotionally more and not so on mentally, some will grow very much mentally but not intellectually. Can you see that? Relationship started here, but they started growing, I don't know which way, right? So what is the issue here? We all grow, Fatima, nobody remains constant. We all grow at each layer differently. Now people can grow out of relationships or grow into relationship based on the configurations they develop. But there is one thing which binds all of them, which is communication. If they are communicating well and understanding each other's layer, and last thing, support each other's growth, then relationship becomes solid. Then you'll find wife is doing completely something different, husband is doing completely something different, but both are committed for relationship, so they are helping each other grow. Wherever the growth is stifled, it starts rotting, because growth is natural, movement is natural. I always suggest to people, if you want great relationship, help others grow. Tomorrow they will be your best friends. So life is not constant. Relationship also is fluid, because can you see that we are not monolithic? We are actually a process which is happening. I am a process. You are a process. How can one process judge the other? If we know ourselves, then you can get rid of any problem in life. And I bet there are many other aspects of relationship which applies very surprisingly. This is another biggest reason for relationship issues today. And that is depolarization of energies. What is energy? I'm picking another, just for the interest of time, picking another. You know, for thousands and thousands of years, man has been protector and provider. They hold an energy called masculine, right? Nobody is fully masculine and fully feminine. Everybody has a mix of it. It has nothing to do with gender also. The masculine energy is all about protection, provider, competition, dominance, all of these things. For thousands and thousands of years, the women were nurturers. Now, the nurturers, the healers, energy is feminine. And that's why natural energy में masculine and feminine का attraction है. Even if you don't have understanding of these values and many other things, there is always an attraction between man and a woman, because they both belong to different energy, hence there is an attraction. But what happened? It went on for thousands and thousands of years, there in our DNA and our psyche. But look at our lifestyle now. People are talking about equality. Man and women are not equal. They are different. Nobody is high, nobody is low, but they are not equal. So this business of equality is destroying this world. Now, if the women, and many times because of the life situation, the women have to be career oriented, they have to fight, they have to earn, they have to provide for the family, they have to protect. What are they doing? They, being naturally feminine, they are trying to adopt masculine characteristics, energies. There is a dissonance here, and now in the family there is one masculine, there is another masculine. Now both partners, they do not know why they are no more intimate, while everything logically seems perfect, because they have convinced their परिवार है तो उसके लिए तो करना पड़ेगा, आपने किया, लेकिन अट्रैक्शन कहाँ से गायब होने लगा, ये उनके पास उसका खबर नहीं है. And that's where, when they are not happy in that relationship, naturally they will go and find something outside of it. So there is always this duality of feminine and masculine. And the masculine, what they will do, they'll attract. Then this female will attract masculine energies, but when or feminine energy, because natural tendency. But the moment they come close, they will be away. They will attract a relationship. The moment time to become really close, they will repel also. And this kind of dynamics will start happening. So relationship may, whether it is professional, you will find somebody is a father is like dominant person, maybe masculine. The other person, if they are not feminine, then it's difficult relationship. If both are masculine, then the tremendous conflict fight will happen. Right? Same thing is happening, and it's not that the man. I personally, I never liked somebody who is very dominant. Why? Because I had little feminine characteristics. A lot of men who are not aggressive can be in the feminine. Similarly, a lot of women could be female, but not necessarily feminine. Right? Now this, because of current stressful life, where the nurturer has to become protector and provider, or the protector and provider has to become nurturer, complete mess of energy has happened. and people are losing attraction with their closest people. This is one of the major reason for relationship. I'm dealing with so many cases, and we have to understand how to, even in the current circumstances, how do we maintain our healthy feminine and healthy masculine energies. Otherwise people are becoming either completely suppressed or very aggressive in relationship, and these are a result of energy depolarization or inner dissonance. I'm masculine but have adopted feminine. So these kind of things are happening internally within us. This is another relationship issue which is both happening in the personal as well as professional, or it will happen anywhere. The whole world operates from this yin and yang, masculine, and the whole world operates from. So you know what, it's such a big topic, relationship. If my only motto was that if you can start looking at this triangle and start exploring layer by layer, if you become aware about two or three things, what is my life purpose, who I need to be identity, then you will know what is important for me. And once you are aware about yourself, these three are sorted out, rest everything will fall in line. And once it fall in line, you will be able to manage yourself beautifully. And if you can manage yourself, you can manage any relationship. This is my message. This is where I work. And I have seen that in my working for dealing of relationship, when a husband came, I never even talked about wife. Entire coaching counseling finished. When wife came, I never talked about husband. I just worked on self and everything got sorted out. By the way, sorting out का मतलब क्या है? Sorting out का मतलब ये नहीं है कि दो लोगों को जबरदस्ती चिपका दिए. No. Sorting out life means we need to be clear about our purpose of life. I have personally, people may have different, know that relationship is for life. Life is not for relationship. If you have this priority, you will start managing the relationship pretty well. With that, I would like to stop. Any questions I would like to take? It's such a big topic, such small 1.5 hour. I don't know whether I did justice to it or not. Whatever came, I just said. I hope you find some value. And
So can I ask a question?
Sir,
Right.
Oh, sorry, you go ahead. It's okay, I'll ask you later. Lavanya ji, you want to ask, please ask, I'll ask later.
Yeah. Sir, if we find our purpose of life, then the relationship issue won't be a big problem, and we can accept the person as he is, and then our belief system will change. Is that right?
Exactly. Actually, purpose of life, right? When you are looking at your highest purpose of life, everything will become clearer to you. जैसे ना एक थोड़ा एग्जांपल, थोड़ा गड़बड़ इन्वायरमेंट दे रहा हूँ आपको मैं. आई एम टेकिंग नेम ऑफ रिलीजन, सो प्लीज फॉरगिव मी. क्या होता है कि आप एक चौरस्ते पे हो, ठीक है, एक मंदिर जाता है, एक मस्जिद जाता है, एक चर्च जाता है और एक गुरुद्वारा जाता है. हम चौराहा पे खड़ा होकर सोचे कि मेरे लिए कौन सा रिलेशनशिप अच्छा है, और वहां तो कोई भी मिल जाएगा. इसलिए बेहतर ये है that you choose where I want to start walking towards your life purpose. आप जो भी रास्ता, चाहे वो मस्जिद है, मंदिर है, चर्च है, गुरुद्वारा है, कोई भी है, पर्पस कोई भी है, उस रास्ते पे जब आप चलने लगोगे ना, हो सकता है you will find some people walking towards the same, and you will find your journey much better. Knowing your purpose of relationship is also very, very important. Lavanya, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
So can I ask another question?
Yeah, please.
So do you think ego is one of the reasons of these energy polarization happening in terms of male and female?
I don't subscribe to this whole idea of ego, right? Ego is identity. आपका नाम क्या है?
Fatima.
That's your identity. If I delete it, you have no ego. So Fatima, ego is like blue shirt.
Okay.
When I'm talking to you, right, keep your ego. I have no problem with your ego. But just become aware that when you are speaking to me, your ego is also there. That itself is enough. We don't need to remove our ego. Because ego is our identity, as long as it's identity. But what you're talking about, the dominant factor, ego, that is something, you know why people do? Identity. Ego is identity. And people die for managing their identity. You know what? Which is the biggest fear people have in life? When I ask, can you tell me which is the biggest fear people have?
Losing their identity in their life.
Right, because of that, they suicide. So death is also not the fear. So people fiercely, they think that if somebody is violating my identity, if I don't keep it, I will get finished. But the moment they have trust on you, you will find they will be actually becoming more and more vulnerable. If you want to progress in life, become more vulnerable. Flow like water.
Thank you so much. Very well answered, sir. Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Any other question? Anybody has?
So I'm Elizabeth Stella. I want to know that if the child traits, their habits and values of childhood, can it be changed now when they are?
Anything can be changed. Now tell me, look at the triangle. When I design a change work for even for corporates, let's say for leaders, right? I look at where the problem is, and then I decide where they. But
What cut? I don't know, Bluetooth.
others are able to hear me?
Yeah, yes. I removed my Bluetooth. Now I can hear.
Okay, right. So what I'm saying is that I completely forgot what I was telling. Can you
The
repeat?
childhood trait, can it be changed with the 50 years
Absolutely,
old or something?
absolutely, it can be changed. Any layer, humans are all about transformation, right? So if you look at the triangle, the higher you go, more difficult it is to change. And the higher you want to change, more intense effort is it. Either the time has to be longer or the stimulation has to be longer. मीन्स कभी कभी जिंदगी में लोगों का एक मेजर इंसिडेंस अगर हो गया, उनकी आइडेंटिटी बदल जाती है. You might have heard so many cases. What happened? That incident changed their identity. When the identity got changed, everything else got changed. So we have enough number of examples. But this is not, we should not wait in life for the accident to happen. We should do it by design, not by default. Okay. That's why the coaches are there to work and help them transform their life. And anything can be transformed.
Thank you.
Sir, the belief system also changes with age and the environment. So how to be get back?
Belief system can change anytime.
Okay.
And you can change it by design also. Belief systems are nothing but the generalization.
Okay.
It's a neurological process called generalization. Belief systems are that only. There is no truth in any belief system. There is nothing called truth as far as belief system is, right?
Okay.
You have just taken it at the subconscious level. That's what something else will happen. Somebody 365 days. One day something happens in Hyderabad, and then somebody say no, Hyderabad is not safe for ladies. I said 364 days it was safe. One day something happened. You are saying not safe, but what about 364? Nothing happened. That means it is 364 times more safe. But we have generalized it. Mind does the negativity. It catches negativity first. Why? Survival. They are actually protecting us. But if you want to survive, you continue. But if you want to thrive, then we have to go beyond our survival belief systems. Can be designed.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Right. So if there is no further questions, so I would like to thank everyone, and my special thanks to Avilas for giving this opportunity um, to have a conversation with you. It was just 90 minutes. So thank you, everyone. If you people want to reach out to me, you can just search for Paritosh Sharan. But I think Avilas can also. I'm there in the group, so you have my mobile number and connect. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.